Hi, welcome to Physics Teacher. In this video I'm going to go over the solution to a grade 12 math contest problem. So give it a quick try yourself and I'll be right back with the answer. Alright, so in this question we have three microphones here, A, B, and C, at these positions where the numbers are based on the units of kilometers. And then we have a large explosion somewhere at P, which is not along this line. Now each of the three microphones will receive the sound. Now the sound is traveling at about 1/3 kilometers per second. Microphone B is going to receive the sound first. Then a half second later A, and then 1 second after that C will receive it. And we need to determine the distance from microphone B to P. So this is the distance we're looking for. Let's just call that D. So we want to try and solve for D. So first, a couple things. It says that microphone A receives it a half a second later. Well, if it's traveling at 1/3 kilometers per second, we multiply that by 1/2 a second, then we get 1/6 a kilometer. That means A is 1/6 a kilometer further away than B is. So we can write this distance as 1/6 plus D. And then a second later, it would have traveled another 1/3 kilometer, which means that P to C is going to be the distance at P to D plus this 1/6 plus a 1/3, which turns out to be, if you do 1/6 plus 1/3, that's just plus 1/2. Alright, so we have these three distances. Now to figure out what D is, we're essentially going to triangulate that position. So let's start with B. So we have the microphone at B, and we're going to create an equation for a circle with radius D. Now it's at the origin, so our equation is just going to be x squared plus y squared is going to equal d squared. Start with something simple. Well, now let's do A. Now A is at the coordinate -1 and 0, so our equation is going to be x plus 1 all squared plus y squared is going to equal the radius squared, which is 1/6 plus d all squared. So we have two equations here. And finally, the equation for the circle around C at the coordinate 2, 0 is going to be x minus 2 squared plus y squared is equal to d plus 1/2 squared. Alright, so let's first expand these equations 2 and 3 a little bit. So if we expand equation 2, we're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1 plus y squared will equal d squared plus 1/3 d plus 1/36. And if we expand equation 3, we get x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus y squared will equal d squared plus d plus 1/4. Alright, so all we did was expand the squares in our equations. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the first equation from the second equation. So we're doing equation 2 minus equation 1. Now when we do that, we can see that the x squared and the y squared term is going to cancel because we have x squared minus x squared, y squared minus y squared. So we're left with 2x plus 1, and then our d squared term cancels, and so we're left with that equaling 1/3 d plus 1/36. Now I'm going to do the same where I'm going to subtract the first equation from the third. So I'm going to do 3 minus 1. And a similar thing is going to happen. Our x squared and y squared term are going to go as well as our d squared term. So now we're left with minus 4x plus 4 is going to equal d plus 1/4. All right, so now I'm left with two equations here with two unknowns, x and d. Now you can see I can get rid of the x if I take this equation here and I multiply both sides by 2. So if I were to do that, then you can see I can have 4x multiplied by 2. And then if I add the two equations, our 4x plus negative 4x will cancel. So let's do that. So here I have 2 times 2x plus 1. And then we're going to add negative 4x plus 4. And that is going to equal to 2 times 1/3 d plus 1 over 36 plus d plus 1/4. Alright, so let's continue this up above here. Now all we need to do is rearrange and solve. So our 4x minus 4x will cancel. And I'm going to be left with 2 plus 4, which is 6, is going to equal to 2/3 d plus 1 over 18 plus d plus 1/4. So that leaves us with 6 is equal to 2/3 d plus 1 over 18 plus d plus 1/4. Now to get rid of the fractions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of our equation by 36. And when I do that, I get 216 is equal to 24d plus 2 plus 36d plus 9. So collect like terms, rearranging, and we will get 60d is equal to 205. Or our answer, d, is 41 over 12 kilometers.